This video is not an analysis of the story of The Last of Us Part 2. It has nothing to do with all the hate and controversies the game had been stirring up. It is also not a criticism of Naughty Dog's decision to have Joel killed in such a brutal and disgraceful way in the first hours of the game. Rather, this is my personal reflection of my own feelings that I have experienced upon Joel's tragic death. And in this video, I hope to share the effect of Joel's death on my psychological and life perspective. Like many players of The Last of Us 2, I have played through the original Last of Us a few times when it was remastered for the PS4, and again recently before the release of The Last of Us 2. We all share lots of sentiments, memories, and love for Joel, as he was such a profound, realistic, and authentic character. In fact, Joel is one of the most beloved video game characters of all time. So I definitely understand the outrage from a vast number of Last of Us fans when I watched Abby, the new, cunning, and vengeful lady character, with a masculine tone and Olympic weightlifting biceps, smashed and completely pulverized Joel's head with a devastating blow of a golf club. She showed no mercy at all. Even Joel and Tommy had just saved her from the infected in the snowstorm. At that point, my jaw literally dropped, as it was so overwhelmingly shocking and unbelievable that Joel's life just ended like that, without giving us any emotional preparation. While Ellie, who had just stumbled into the room, was held down onto the floor by Abby's crew, struggled to resist and seemed so powerless. She witnessed the tragic end of Joel's life with cries and sobs, but couldn't do anything to stop Abby. My initial pangs of shock immediately turned into anger and rage. That's the intention of Naughty Dog, to make us players step into the eyes of Ellie and feel those intense emotions. Strangely enough, I couldn't feel any sadness or sorrow until later in the game, when Ellie picked up a guitar, which she came across in a theater, and started playing, triggering her flashback with Joel's memory 3 years ago. The memory of Ellie spending her birthday with Joel touring the post-apocalyptic dinosaur museum was bittersweet. The flashback showed their happiest moments with joy and laughter, also triggering in me some of the most nostalgic moments from the original Last of Us. Knowing that Joel has ceased to exist in the present of the Last of Us timeline struck me with uncontrollable pangs of sorrow and sadness. Joel clearly showed Ellie that she had a special place in his heart and how much he cared for her. He would even do anything to protect her and keep her happy. Inside the cockpit of an abandoned spaceship, Joel handed Ellie a truly thoughtful and meaningful birthday gift. It was a countdown tape recorded from an actual launch. During the countdown, second by second, moment to moment, led to an epiphany in my mind that forever changes my perspective of life. The countdown reminded me of not only my own impending death, but also of the impermanence and mortality of every loved ones around me, and reminded me of my recently passed away grandfather, who I never had the chance to say goodbye to. Each second that passes by is life that we will never get back. Yet, I have wasted so much time in unnecessary arguments with my family, petty resentments towards people and friends that drains my emotional energy, while not realizing that anyone's life could end just as unexpectedly as Joel's. In our everyday life, we usually live in a comfortable and predictable environment, where death seems to be so distant and hidden away from us. We go through life in a mostly distracted state. Death is like an abstract and unpleasant thought that occasionally pops out from the back of our mind, so far away from our flesh and blood experience of living that we would just tend to push the thought of death away. But the truth is that there is no such thing as life without death. What makes The Last of Us so exciting and exhilarating to play is that Ellie and Joel had to constantly fight for their lives. They were always on the edge of encountering dangers and death. This makes every second of their story extra meaningful. This is also what makes us players so immersed in the world of Last of Us. The game never shy away from showing the dark side of human beings and how much violence we humans are capable of inflicting on each other. Human nature never changes throughout history. It also shows in The Last of Us that people are always splitting into groups and factions into opposite sides, fighting and slaughtering thousands of fellow humans. As long as people they kill are from the other side, the sight of brutality and death might not even provoke the slightest sense of empathy. Despite the extreme darkness of The Last of Us Part 2, we should not lose hope in humanity. As the game suggested, there is something far greater than the thirst for revenge, which transcends even space and time. Eye for an eye would become a never-ending cycle and eventually gets old. Even Ellie, in the end, chose to let go of revenge and not to kill Abby after all the risk she had taken. This everlasting and transcending element is called love. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." Love is what defined the relationship between Joel and Ellie. Even Joel is now forever gone. His spirit and love towards Ellie forever lives on in her heart and mind. For us, we will always remember Joel in the form of memories, his wise words.
No matter what, you keep finding something to fight for.
And his guitar music. Having this realization kind of shifted my perspective about the concept of time. In the first Last of Us, time was linear and events happened roughly in the same order as the characters experienced them. The Last of Us Part 2 introduced flashbacks of Ellie's memories with Joel, suggesting the power of the mind to travel through time and space. Understanding that the legacy and spirit of Joel lives on. What we are doing today, the world we live in right now, will also live on and affect the future. What we do actually matters.
What we do matters.
We, as individuals, all have the power to create and contribute to the world, even have an influence on people and audience far ahead into the future, allowing us humans to transcend the limitations and prison of time, and even the finality of death itself. Finally, I believe everything happens for a reason. The ultimate fate that Naughty Dog decided upon Joel was a payback for his killing of Abby's father. Honestly, no one gives a shit about Abby's desire for revenge. To me, the most beautiful moments in The Last of Us Part 2 were the memories that Joel shared with Ellie. They are simple, yet most valuable. There must be a reason why Joel's death caused so much debate on the internet. But Joel's death is now history that cannot be reversed. Let's not make his death go to waste. Let us remember Joel's word and live it out, to live and act every day as if the Lord had given us a second chance. Just imagine how much better our world will become.
If somehow the Lord gave me a second chance at that moment, I would do it all over again.